Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is a full market analysis, volume 36. Going to be looking at this week, and we're going to be looking out for some moves for next week. So just to sum up for this week, it was actually quite a very consolidative price action in the markets. I personally saw that. You can see that we didn't really get any moves, but I have some, good insights for next week, and I think we can really expect some good move. So I do hope this obviously does bring you guys value. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we also do have a trading group as well. That link is in the description. So we're going to cover gold and Euro USD tomorrow. So we will start with New Zealand dollar, US dollar for today. So run a 4-hour chart here, and what we're looking out for is pretty much a downside opportunity. So we can see how price is very slowly edging up to the upside. We do have, if we were to draw this intraday trend line, we can see that, this is getting steeper and steeper. So as we know that the market does need to correct at some points in the market, it can never go straight up. It needs to have a sell-off point in order for the market to remain healthy and steady. So if we look at the RSI, take a bit more look into this, we can see that we've had, an overbought condition here, which obviously peaked up into this region. So what I'm noticing now is that the momentum is selling off and it is decreasing, and we can see that how price is not relating to the RSI indicator in relation to the peaks. So you can see that this is peaking higher and this is trending lower. So with that said, we can look at a possible move to the downside, and this is where, I think that we could expect a correction for this move. So if I was to draw a fib from this level here and draw it to the high, I'll be looking to see if price can get into at least the 50 to the 618 fib within this region here. So that's where I'm looking for price to dip, and this is ultimately my next move for price action for this pair. If we take a look at the potential and the risk reward, we have around 150 to about just under 200 mark. So it is worth taking a look and trading a short into this, but the upside opportunity is where the real money is at. So if we do miss this move here, don't worry, we do have this huge upside potential, which is where I'm going to be talking about that once this move is finished, and I'll obviously update that move for you guys. But pretty much this is where the real money is going to be made, and can expect a lot more pips to be covered in this move here. So that's all I wanted to cover for New Zealand dollar. Now we'll check out Aussie dollar. Pretty much they have a similar correlation, so what we can expect for this pair is ultimately the same thing. What I'm looking out for here, so if we pull out a fib, and this is what I was mentioning in the trading group, that we could expect a very good profitable month this week. And what I mean by that is the moves are going to be very unusually bigger in comparison to the previous months, and that's because we're now formulating market, like transitioning into the market phases into from a consolidative to a more impulsive and trending market, and that's where the real money is, of course. But this is on a higher time frame, so all trending methods will work, and this is where the real growth of the accounts do occur. So that's why I was looking at into November. So yeah, what I'm trying to say for this one is I'm going to look for price to drop into the 50 to the 618 fib. And with that short, I am looking for sell-off opportunities, and here it's around about the 150 pip range to 200 again. In terms of this, we could be looking out for possible pushes higher. So this could still peak higher and push higher, and then we're going to watch that drop. So this is more of a lower time frame perspective, but the main takeaway for this pair is that we're eventually going to drop, and that's where I'm going to try and manipulate the market and try and get in and watch this drop. And again, guys, I'm looking out for this huge push to the upside, which I expect to happen in the next few weeks or so. So something just for another predictive move. So don't worry about this move so much. Worry about that sell-off first before we talk about buying again. And of course, like I said, I'll obviously talk about that upside opportunity once I think we're ready. So moving on to USDJPY. Now, personally, we had a lot of struggle with this pair. I was only expecting price to descend at least the 50 to the 618 fib, but we can see that price just continued to soar to the downside. I still think that we do have that bullish momentum intact. I'm thinking that we are still bullish with this. So I'm looking at one other confluence here, this indicator. We can see we do have a similar divergence here in this point of move, which caused this huge uprise. This was at the start of last week, and we can see that this week we had that sell-off opportunity to cover this huge push and aggressive move. So what I'm noticing now is that we could look at a lot of collection of orders in this particular area. So what I think can happen is we're going to get that huge push to the upside. So if we have missed the absolute bottom, we can look for something like this, and again pretty much spike up, but it's going to be looking to take out this high here. And as you can see, it's actually matched up with some support and resistance levels, but ultimately I'm just keying out this level here because this is where we had a nice resistance here, and it slowly dropped to the downside all the way to roughly 103. But what I'm looking out for is this move again to the upside, and I think this is where the real money is for the next pair, for this pair. So a good 200 pips, and I want to see price take out 105.6, so take out this high and progressively move a lot higher than this. That's where I personally am anticipating the move. Now, if we move on to our other pair, CADJPY. So I'm concerned about this pair particularly because I'm looking out for this move here, and I'm also using the confluences of the other JPY pairs. Now, the other JPY pairs are all pushing up, and for me, for CADJPY, I'm taking a look at how we've been personally just trapped into this consolidation wedge here. So this is on a higher time frame, so respectively it's a daily time frame to a weekly. Now, because we've been trapped in this area here, I do think that that this could push higher, and the only reason why I'm saying that is because of the other JPY pairs are pushing higher. I do have the analysis to push higher, but for this pair in particular, I have it to drop. So this one's going to be quite of a tricky one, so I do plan to update this once we have that break to the upside, because personally I think we still could have that drop to the downside, and I don't want to negate that. So until we have some strong biases towards the upside for this pair, I will be convinced to then take a buy. But for now, I'm still gonna keep intact a selling opportunity if possible. I may review this through tomorrow and the weekend, and through the week as price reveals itself with more evidence, and maybe I could formulate a lower time frame or another buying opportunity for us in the group. So yeah, so that's pretty much where my headspace is at with CADJPY. Looking at EuroJPY, my situation with this, you can see how my bias is towards the upside. Reason for this, we've had this huge strength in the market here, and we've all basically taken out this high. So we've tested this at 125, had a rejection, but if we can see that the retracement is very slow in comparison to the bullish momentum. If we take a look at the RSI, we are reaching the oversold condition, so things are kind of matching up quite nicely here. And if we were to pull out a fib for an additional confluence, we're bang on the 618. So we do have a lot of confluences here for me to be convinced that we are going to eventually push higher. So in terms of target, I am looking to take out this high. So if we just simply said that from that high here, from where we are now, it's about 200 pips. So very good risk to reward ratio there. And now we're going to have a look at New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Same story again, guys. I am looking for an upside move. If we pull out, if we can have a look at this move here, huge strength in the market here. And as you can see again, guys, that the retracement, so the counter trend to the bullish momentum is very slow. So I want you to take that into consideration, because that's you can really determine the market bias just simply by looking at how the market moves in relation to price and time. I keep talking about this because it's a key fundamental aspect of trading, which I think it has proved to work out for me personally well. So I definitely think you guys should take it on board as well and see if it does have some success in your own trading. But I'm looking out for the 50 to 618 fib to retrace into this area. Possibly it could fling up higher. It really just depends if we can cover this area space. But if we can pull into this red box zone and then push higher, that's pretty much the route that I'm looking to take. So we can manipulate market both ways, guys. Like, this is the beauty of trading, short in the market and obviously taking advantage of the bigger move. So if you were looking for the short and you managed to get into it's about 150 downside move, and then the upside, which I'm looking to target this area, is about 250. If we can push just a little bit higher, so around here is 250. And I believe that's around the 73 level. So that marks the point of a nice psychological level. So if we push higher from this point, this is a nice, obviously good return on investment. So if we look at the next pair, it's AUDJPY. So if we look at the other side on this one, so AUDJPY, pretty much the same situation again. If we look at the retracement of it, where price can pull into the 618 and the 50 fib again, you can see that we're pretty much close here. So what I'm ultimately waiting for is, I'm not saying price is going to definitely go into this 50 zone, but what I'm trying to look out for is that bullish momentum. So this 50 fib and the 618 fib, is an area of where typically we can find that. I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but for example, it could just shoot straight off immediately in the next week, and I'm looking to take out this high, so around the 77 point. So from the box is from the 50 fib, it's 200 pips. From the downside, it's 70 pips. So it's really what happens next. But for this, it just depends what you want to do. If you want to take on this counter trend move and be a part of that, and then wait for that bullish momentum, and then it's totally how you really want to play it, guys. And finally, the last two pairs, we're going to look at USDCHF. So for this one, I've been struggling to get my head around this, but I am convinced that we are looking to push slightly lower. But I am concerned about this bullish momentum, so I may consider taking a look at this through the week, and I've got a bias level. So if we do go above this zone, I'd consider this as a possible bullish momentum, and especially if we break above this level here, so 93, that's a big psychological level. So if we break above those two levels, I'm concerned, and I would present a bullish scenario for you guys. But for what I'm thinking so far, if we stay below 0.92, is for price to descend and to take out this low, and progressively move just a bit lower. So that's pretty much where I'm thinking with this pair. And finally, USDCAD. I'm looking at this in a sort of similar situation where I'm looking for a sell-off opportunity to the downside, to take out this low, and then I've been looking to take a bullish momentum to the upside. But we'll talk about that later if that happens. So if we pull out the like a level, 1.29, we could see that being tapped into, and then we could have that push to the upside. But of course, we need to see this first come into play, and if we go above this zone here as an invalidation, I'd consider this pair to now become bullish. So that's all I wanted to talk about for this week, for the next trading week. But long story short, for this trading week, we did have a lot of consolidation in the market. This happens time to time. What this is on a higher time frame perspective is, consolidation. Now, this is where the markets gain enough energy and trading liquidity to, have that push into the market. And, hopefully next week we do get that. I do think that we're on our way, especially with the JPY pairs. We're in that second stage of the the bigger impulse move, and then the USD pairs, they're in the temporary move to the downside before we're waiting for that long. So maybe the USD pairs we could look at for maybe in the next 2 weeks, maybe in December. That's when they're gonna be really popping off. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. So guys, I do hope this video did give you some value. Of course, make sure you're subscribed. I do appreciate your time for watching. Of course, make sure you've joined our trading group. That link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, check out our Instagram. You can message us there. And if you have any other questions. So thank you very much for listening, guys. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow.